E-mini S&Ps end the day and the week lower. In fact, it's the first weekly lower close that we've seen over the last 6 weeks. But we did hold above 5,000 as the market absorbs a lot of the data this week. Recall on Tuesday, we got that big CPI number that knocked stocks lower. We did make back a lot of those losses, but we couldn't quite get back to unchanged on the week. Ultimately, the market has been leaning heavy into what the Fed may do later on this year, and that's cut rates. Hopefully, after the Fed chair discussed the possibilities of March dwindling, the market pushed it out to May. Now those odds are dwindling, and we're looking at market expectations for a June rate cut. But of course, a lot of that can change very quickly, and equities do love those low rates. And as earnings and economic data has been mixed, the market again has been leaning heavy into the potential for rate cuts sooner than later. Well, after this week's data, it looks like they may come later as opposed to sooner. But again, we saw E-minis make back much of Tuesday's losses and close north of that 5,000 level. Now, what does this mean for volatility? Well, volatility has seen some major up and downs this week, especially on Tuesday. We saw volatility spike higher as equity indices were moving lower. But again, as the equity indices move back higher off those dreaded lows, we did see volatility come in. It did still settle higher on the week, however, was well off those midweek highs. Lastly, let's talk about what we have next week. Next week, we have a few key data points. We have the January FOMC minutes, which will come out and discuss kind of what went on under the hood at January FOMC, where the Fed didn't cut rates. However, they did talk about the potential for cuts down the road. We also get a slew of earnings reports and a number of Fed speakers, but ultimately the market's going to continue to wait and watch how Fed rate cut expectations could affect what comes down the pipe. And ultimately, right now, the market hanging its hat on a June FOMC cut. But again, like I said earlier, that can change very quickly. So E-mini S&Ps, after making yet another new all-time high, see a big pullback on Tuesday after CPI, but we did make some of those losses back, closing north of 5,000 ahead of next week's FOMC minutes, Fed speakers, and earnings.